The Phyrexians have successfully completed some of Magic's greatest heroes, and the new powerhouse cards are looking to completely dominate the Explorer meta too. In this video, I'm going to show you the top 5 best new decks to conquer the early meta.
Victory!
Starting us off is Jund Transmogrify. This deck has a 47.7% win rate against the field, however, it does have a 62.5% win rate versus blue-white control, 57.1% win rate versus Rakdos Midrange, and a 66.7% win rate versus red-black sacrifice, all three of which are very common decks in the current meta. The namesake card of the deck is Transmogrify. We use this to target one of our own creatures, revealing cards until we get an Atraxa. Now Atraxa is the only creature in our deck, so we're always going to hit it. The deck runs many token producing cards to actually target with the Transmogrify. Courier's Briefcase and Careful Cultivation can actually ramp us so that we can get a Transmogrify out on turn 3 rather than turn 4, whilst also being targets to sacrifice to the Transmogrify. Cards like a Psychic Chariot and Fable of the Mirror Breaker are perfect examples of token producers that are also just excellent cards on their own. Because of the rates of these cards, sometimes the deck can just win through straight value, which is why the rest of the deck is actually just full of removal and card disruption. Thoughtseize can protect our combo, whilst cards like Fire Prophecy can throw Atraxas back into the deck if we do accidentally draw them. I like to call this deck archetype Combo Midrange, which is perfect for anyone who enjoys grindy games with the potential for an explosive finish.
Victory!
Keruga Fires has a 58.8% win rate with a 64.3% win rate versus red-black midrange, which is the most played deck in the format, and has a 60% win rate versus mono-red, which is also highly played, especially if you're grinding the lower ladder ranks. The first namesake card is Keruga, which is actually a companion in your sideboard. This card is often drawing you a minimum of 3 cards whenever you play it. I've had times where it's completely refueled my entire hand as well. The other namesake card is Fires of Invention, which allows us to play a card without tapping lands. The reason this is beneficial is because we can use the spare mana to activate abilities like the companion ability, or we can even cycle lands, all while still playing other cards. And of course, it fixes your mana, which can be really relevant in a 4-color deck. This deck is very versatile with a wide suite of removal, alongside a couple of board wipes helping us to stabilize the board. Speaking of stabilizing, Omnath does that very well too. In fact, Omnath does it all. It draws you cards, stabilizes, and even gains you more mana. You can funnel all of the spare mana into your activated abilities. Kenrith and Cavalier of Flame use it to buff your board and even give them haste for some very explosive finishes out of nowhere. And of course we have Elesh Norn. This is a huge gain as she doubles your Leyline Binding, doubles Cavalier, doubles Keruga. She just fits into this deck so perfectly. This deck is great for anyone who loves activating lots of abilities, drawing loads of cards, and of course smacking face with a huge board.
Victory!
Monogreen Devotion holds a 47.2% win rate against the field, but has a 60 to 78% win rate against a lot of the meta decks. Its total win rate is definitely being lowered by decks with a lot of flyers, such as Mono Blue Spirits being at a 23.1% win rate, and Abzan Greasefang at 33.2%. This deck is all about ramp, with an assortment of mana acceleration for the early turns, and of course, the namesake card from the last Explorer Anthology, Nykthos. Nykthos brought this deck from a nobody to an absolute contender for the very top. But the best plays in this deck is activating Nykthos multiple times in a single turn. Kiora and Nissa both can literally untap Nykthos, but Cavalier of Thorns and Storm the Festival can drop additional Nykthoses into play too. Just remember it is legendary, so you do need to tap it first. With all of this mana, you can use it to flashback Storm of the Festival or play cards like Karn. Now Karn is this deck's main win con because of his -2 ability. You can tutor for any of the cards in your sideboard, which is just insane. You can tutor for whatever you need: Graveyard Hate, Planeswalker Hate, Lifesteal, removal on a big creature, board wipes, card advantage. You can even slow your opponent down and do so much more. This deck is perfect for anyone who wants a fighting chance against most decks. Just imagine playing with 4 copies of your sideboard main deck all in a single card.
Victory!
Red-black midrange is a deck nobody's surprised to see, with the highest play rate and a 54% win rate versus the board. It also has a 54.8 to 80% win rate against the next 3 most popular decks. That's just insane. This deck has access to some of the best hand disruption in the game, and you can follow it up with further discard at an exceptional rate. Liliana can also be removal or a pseudo win con, whilst Colligan's command can be removal and can recover your other win cons. Sticking to removal, this deck is absolutely full of it, with lots of removal doubling as beat sticks. Blood Tithe smacking 3 on turn 2 could be enough to pressure on its own in many of the different matchups, and cards like Mirror Breaker could just keep copying it for multiple pieces of removal, and it digs for more threats. But don't get me wrong, this deck certainly doesn't lack threats. Sheoldred has proven herself. Against control, she's a formidable clock. Against aggro, she's a stabilization machine, and of course Kalitas can run away with the game if left unchecked. I do also want to mention the manlands. This deck has access to most likely the 3 best manlands in the entire format, and they're especially good if you've grinded the game out to a top deck war with cards like Liliana. This deck is perfect for anyone who enjoys making other people miserable and loves playing to the top deck.
Victory!
Brave Humans has a 53.1% win rate overall, but it does unfortunately have a 40% win rate versus red-black midrange. But then it does have a 60 to 70% win rate against the next 3 most popular decks, which isn't bad at all. The deck's named after Brave the Elements, which allows us to not only protect our creatures from a wide range of removal in the format, but it also allows us to push through walls of blockers to get the last bit of damage through. The deck runs an assortment of 1-drops, some of which get us card advantage, some of which grow in size, and then most importantly, 2 of which protect our larger humans. Skelv is a new addition to the deck, and don't tell anyone, it isn't actually a human. But the ability to give our other creatures hexproof on demand is so powerful, we just have to include it. The cards we're looking to protect most vary on the matchup. Sometimes we need Thalia to slow them down, other times we need to save our huge lieutenant, and of course, Adeline and Luminarch Aspirant are always great targets to protect, as they can easily overwhelm an opponent if they survive multiple turns. Rounding the deck out, we have a little bit of removal, which is usually used to get rid of any annoying blockers our opponent might have, and once again, it would be wrong not to mention the lands. Mutavault is just simply one of the best man lands ever made, and in a tribal deck, it gets even better. This deck is perfect for anyone who just wants to turn cards sideways and really enjoys the gotcha moment when you protect your creatures against removal.
Victory!
Let me know in the comments below which deck was your favourite, and of course, if you like Explorer, you probably like the historic format too, so click on this video to take a look at 5 of the best historic decks.